Yeah, but like I said, my name's Schreiner. I've been in real estate since 2015, and
Awesome.
before that, insurance, and then before that, I was sales manager and sales trainer with CarMax since
Hmm.
2007.
Gotcha. And
Mhm.
so what made you you say you were in insurance before. What made you want to switch from insurance to real estate, or do you still do insurance as well?
No, no, no. It was one of those things when I left CarMax, I was trying to kind of find my place in the world. I was like, okay, what am I doing here? Where's my talents best served? And I have some great friends who sell insurance. They all encouraged me to do it. And I just found that it wasn't right for me. It
Hmm.
wasn't the type of sales I enjoy. I want everybody to be really happy. And insurance, a lot of times you have to have the difficult conversations about death and
Right,
life insurance, and you're talking about someone's house and covered perils that are terrible things that you don't want to see anybody go through.
right,
So
right.
it was certainly an interesting education. I learned a lot. Um, I got a lot of expertise that helps me now, but it wasn't anything I wanted to do long term. And so I decided to take a step back and grab my real estate license, and I let my insurance license go and started selling real estate full time after that.
Awesome. And so right now, do you currently have a team, or are you just sort of like a free agent?
No, I'm the managing director of Custom Select Realty at the moment.
Awesome,
So
awesome.
I run our shop. We have probably 11 agents at the moment. And I manage all those guys and their contracts and their training and help them through. And my phone never stops because of it. But I enjoy it. I love what I do. I prefer to be teaching now. It's kind of it's,
Mm.
I've, I've always felt most comfortable as helping others. And they say, and I get really frustrated with this because it's not always true. It is true in a lot of places and it's true in a lot of organizations, but those who can't do teach. I don't know if you've ever heard this. Um,
I've heard the saying a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's true for a lot of folks. However, I've made President's Club in every organization I've ever been a part of. And I've been a top performer my whole life. So I can teach and I can do, which means I run circles around a lot of folks, which is fun for me. So yeah, I manage about 11 folks now, and we're starting our own brokerage in the fall. Moving into right now, I'm finishing up my broker's license, so we'll have a new real estate brokerage, hopefully in the Louisville area by December.
Awesome. So what made you want to teach other people? I know you said that's something you lean towards more, but why?
Um, I heard this great quote a long time ago. You're not a leader until you've made leaders.
Mm.
Uh, and my whole life is I want to create leaders. So a few years ago, I was in Kansas City. Um, my wife's work took us out there, and I still, was an active agent here in Louisville. I would sell homes in Louisville from Kansas,
Hmm.
which was a challenge, but I did, and I
it
had some
sounds,
transactions
it
that went.
sounds incredible.
Yeah, it was a lot of 8-hour drives, and that's when I also got my mortgage broker license, so I could stay
Mm.
active in the loan side of the Louisville community and the Kentucky community, Kentuckiana
Gosh.
area, and do all that. But teaching for me is about well, anyway, while I was in Kansas, I started sales coaching, and I would just, I did it at CarMax, teaching people how to sell cars and seeing the smiles on people's faces as you give them little nuggets along the way to help them increase their earnings and make their life better. And then in Kansas, I did it independently, worked with a lot of different franchises and looked at their sales processes and, coached the salespeople or the people who might run the organization who don't have a clue about sales. And why am I failing? Well, you don't have clients, and the people who you do get an opportunity to talk to don't want to work with you. So let's work.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so we did that. I did that for a while I was doing mortgage brokerage and real estate in Kentucky, and then moved back home. And I started up our Business Booster series. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but we teach professionals from any organization. You can be a lawyer, you can be a realtor, insurance agent, anybody. You don't have to be with our brokerage, and we just go through sales classes. It's not
Mm.
specific to real estate or contracts. We talk about anything in our classes. We typically do a spring and fall semester, and we'll have roughly 50 people in each class from all over Louisville, different professionals, learning together, working together to get better. And I love it. So I do the same thing, but just more in depth on real estate with my agents, which is one reason I
Okay.
write freaking rock stars. I'm so proud of my team. My team kicks. But
That's
that's
amazing. That's amazing. So what's your mindset when you're teaching people?
my mindset. Well, there's a lot of them, man. You have to,
So
I think,
like
give.
sort of
Yeah,
like
go
what
ahead.
mindset do you approach people when you're first starting to work with them?
Mm. Well, I don't know if you've ever read The Seven Habits of Highly Effective People, Stephen Covey.
I've heard the
Um,
book. I haven't gotten into it.
get into it, man. Audiobook's a good one too. There's a great line in there that says you can't be efficient with people, you can only be effective.
Mm,
Everybody, especially adults, we learn through doing, we learn at different paces. We're not typically going to sit down with a book.
hmm
We have a family and there's a million things going on. So when you have to teach adults, it's a whole lot different as far as their learning environment and what they need. So
hmm
how do I give them everything that I can give them to make sure that during this hour or 2 hours that they took away from their primary earning potential, to give them something that's going to be worth those 2 hours? How do I do that? Because if it's not worth your time, they're not going to be there. I'm not going to be there. So how do I make this as impactful as I possibly can? So when they leave the room, they're better with their next client.
Gotcha, gotcha. And what's your main thing that you try to tell or focus on everybody to make sure that they're not doing the same mistakes that other people are doing?
Well, um, mistakes are valuable.
Hmm
I hate to say it, because it's not what a lot of times folks want to hear, but mistakes are important. Um,
Right.
you you won't win unless you failed somewhere along the way. The key is just not to make a habit of it.
Mm,
Identify your failures and move through them quickly. Um, that's one reason I loved selling cars at CarMax when I was younger. I had 10 opportunities a day. I might see 5 or 10 different customers a day. You know how many times you can screw up a day and figure out, oh, that didn't work. Let's be better here or do this better. So, identifying the things that you're not doing well. And that's one reason I love selling in a hard economy.
hmm
People don't realize this
mm.
is a gift. If you're in real estate, this is a gift. You get instant feedback. If it's not, you know if what you're doing is working because you either do have business or you don't, right?
Right,
Real
right,
estate,
right, right.
67% of agents in the Louisville market right now have sold 2 homes or less. It's September.
Mm,
70% of agents are not really doing anything. They're getting the
hmm
feedback. The market's giving them the feedback. Your skills aren't where they need to be for this economy. So
hmm
you got to up your skill set. It's really important. So when it comes to things like that, it's mistakes help people identify what works and what doesn't. And you know what? I Mistakes are okay. We'll just coach you
hmm
through. I'm not going to be. I don't. I'm not a heavy-handed individual. Somebody makes
mm,
mistakes. If you hire the right person, somebody will be harder on themselves than you'll ever be on. So my
mm.
job is to pick them up, dust them off, talk through what we could have done differently, and move forward. Now, if you hire the wrong person, that mistake just needs to be written down so you can build a nice ledger of things to deny unemployment when they fire you. Um,
Gotcha.
but that's it. It's like I'm not going to hire people who don't want to win, and the people
hmm
we bring on are type A. So if they make a
mm,
mistake, I all my job is to do is identify what in the thought process was um, not correct, and then help them with that, and then help solve the problem for the best of the client and.
gotcha, gotcha. So how do you make sure that your agents are client orientated rather than commission orientated?
Mm. Well, I want them to be both.
Right.
I look, we don't work for free. I don't, you don't. Um, they need to be compensated well to stay in this business, because the people
hmm
that I want to hire are people who could go get salary jobs making a pretty good amount of money. I want professionals. I like people who've retired. I love retired professionals. If you have a retirement, a pension, and we love, like, specifically, I have a background in fire and EMS. I was a first
hmm
responder from 2003 to 2009. I love
Wow.
previous police, fire, and EMS. They're high energy, autonomous, very smart, capable individuals, along with veterans. Um, those are the folks that I want, and a lot of times those folks are obviously going to be, motivated by money. It just should not come in front of the client's best interest. So
Right.
we're going to do what's right for the client. And because we do what's right for the client, we're going to be paid and compensated fairly. That's the goal. And that's what everybody needs to understand. Now, if there's any question to that, and I find our agents doing something that was not best for the client because they
Hmm.
wanted the commission, well, then they can move on down the road. They will not stay with us.
Mm,
And
gotcha. So it's
everybody
it,
knows it too. Clients first, family first, clients first. Money is a byproduct of doing the right thing for your clients.
gotcha. It's very much a heart issue, less of a mind issue per se, right? Would you say
Yeah,
that?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Absolutely. Like if and plus, like we have a realtor's code of conduct.
Mm,
And in the mortgage brokerage industry and in the insurance industry, it's very heavily regulated.
right.
Uh, if you do something that's not in the best interest of the client, which is the preamble to the code of conduct, um, you're not just um, damaging the client. You're going to damage yourself because there's going
Mm,
to be consequences.
right. No, I understand. I understand. So, have you had any particularly difficult people that you've brought onto your team that weren't a good fit?
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
How did you deal with them?
well, it depends on the individual circumstance, I think, because over the years I've hired, we talk about making mistakes. You make some mistakes with those that you hire, and then you learn from them.
Mm.
As
Yeah. So which lessons did you learn from those hires?
yeah, that's a great question. Well, I think having multiple eyes on somebody you're going to hire is an important part.
Hmm.
We all come to each engagement with our own biases, and we need to recognize that we may not see everything that we need to see in each engagement, especially for assessing talent, because
Hmm.
that's really what hiring is you're assessing talent. So if I'm going to assess talent, I'm going to get one viewpoint, and then I hope it aligns with someone else in the room. So my goal is a lot of times, two or three interviews with a personality test that you like and that you've used multiple times, so you can infer different things based on those personality tests. That's typically
Hmm.
where we start, is with
Hmm.
a personality test, and then we move into interview questions based around that personality test. So I'm looking to validate, is the test correct?
Mm.
Information that we received on the personality questionnaire, is it correct and influential to what we're looking to do? um, Lessons outside of hire the best quality candidate and have multiple eyes on them. I think the other thing is just give them your all. I don't want in any engagement with anybody that I hire, I don't want anybody to feel like I didn't give them 1,000% trying to coach them and help them be successful.
Hmm.
If they're not successful, they're going to blame somebody. And most of the time, as humans, we don't like to blame ourselves. So
Right.
I need people to know, like, you know what? Um, there was a challenge, but Ken did everything he could to help me.
Hmm.
And I don't want anybody walking away going, Ken didn't give me his all. He didn't deliver on what he said he would deliver on.
Gotcha. So when you're assessing talent, you talked about the personality test. Is there any specific characteristics you look for in people when you're bringing them on?
Um, yeah, there's a few. I'm looking for moderate to high autonomy in our
Hmm.
businesses. I'm working from my home office today. I'm not in the office, and I will not babysit you. You know, if you need to, if you're scared of work and Netflix is more comfortable, and you're going to go watch Netflix, you're going to get a paycheck that's commensurate with watching Netflix.
Hmm.
Uh, if you are, you know, uncomfortable going out and meeting people on your own, or networking, or being, engaged with clients in a one-on-one without somebody as like a safety net near you, or just somebody to motivate you. It's like, going to the gym. If you can't go to the gym without a gym partner, you're going to be at the gym less frequently because that person's not always going to be there to support you.
Hmm.
So I need people with a high degree of autonomy. I look for moderate confidence. Confidence can be developed. Um, people who have a high degree of orchestration. That's what our personality test calls it, is like an orchestrator. I want somebody
Mm,
who see multiple pieces in everyone else's purview. So we have title attorneys, we have appraisers, we have home inspectors, we have lenders, we have insurance agents, and we have us, and then we have the agent, excuse me, on the other side of the process, and then we have their clients, and we have to deal with all these people, right? How do all these interchangeable and these different work tracks influence our client? I need people to be able to orchestrate and manage high levels of different things moving around at the same time. Um, those are typically what I'm looking for: autonomy, the ability to orchestrate well, and a moderate degree of confidence.
gotcha. And so that's amazing. When you train your agents to be able to do the activity, what kind of activity are they doing to be able to bring in the volume that they want to see?
Well, uh, you have to teach your agents to work in the way that they want to work.
Mm,
They're all 1099 independent contractors. And if there's something that they hate doing, well, you're not going to be successful doing it.
mm,
Uh, for instance, if your business relies on cold calls all morning, um, there's going to be a lot of people who don't like to do that, right? I don't teach people to cold call.
mhm,
We don't do any smile and dial in my brokerage,
mm.
because there's one of the things that we teach, and I'll give this for free to everybody. There's high
Yes,
value
for the audience.
for anybody listening. There's high value touches. So a cold call is a very low value touch.
Hmm.
Um, you want to identify your sphere, people who you need to be in your sphere, and people who you want to make your client, and then you want to make the most of those relationships. And the best way to do it is through high value, high frequency touches. So if it takes 8 touches to build a relationship with somebody, how fast can I get 8 quality touches with that person? Because if I do 8 quality touches over the course of 4 years, there's going to be some other agent who's built a relationship better than mine. But if
Mm,
or if it's just a direct mail, I just send you a letter. That's a nice high value touch. But if I only do it once, there's very little relationship building that happens. So,
mhm.
um, we're looking for high value touches, high frequency of touches with as many people as you can keep in your sphere as possible. And that can be a challenge. And we help people typically build relationships around that, or build a business model or a marketing model around that to get their clients. When it
Mhm,
comes to, if somebody likes buying Zillow leads, our brokerage has really, aggressive commissions. They can go buy those and,
mhm.
be just fine. If you buy Zillow leads and don't depend on a real estate company to, or realtor.com, or I can't remember them all. I don't buy leads. I
There's
moved
a
a lot.
lot of them.
Yeah, I moved a lot of leads, so I don't, Boomtown or something. Um, I don't know all of them, but if you want to do this because that's how you enjoy working, well, then that's good. That's how you need to emphasize your business, because there's 5,500 or so agents in this city. Not all
Hmm.
of us are going to work the same way. We're not all going to be successful in the same way. We need to find what works best for our agents. And during our onboarding process, we spend about 25 hours doing like a marketing plan.
Hmm.
And those are the questions that come out. How do you feel most comfortable going about attaining and retaining your business? What do you want to do? What rooms do you want to be in? What kind of people do you want to be around? And we build it in that fashion. So that way it's not just work, it's fun. You get to be in rooms that you want to be in with people you want to be with, and those are going to be your best clients.
Mm. Right. I understand that. It's a
That
lot
was
of about, what'd you say?
I say, sorry that was a bit of a download. I can go on for an hour. I actually just taught a class on that last week at the Royal Room in Norton Commons. We did a back to sales basics for lenders and realtors, and you got part of my hour.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I appreciate it. Yes, I understand. It's a lot about building the relationships with people because if you don't build a relationship, they're not going to want to do business with you. Um, what would you say? Maybe just like you don't have to share all of them. You do have your own thing, but maybe share with me like one or two of the touches that maybe are more effective per se, let's say in your local community or for in person?
Yeah. So, I think you could probably rank it, but the key with a touch point, um, it can't be for you.
Mm,
It needs to be for them.
hmm
So one of the things that you can do, for example, and this is something that I do, I sit back with a list of folks and I know what they're interested in, and I'll go dig up an article on the Rolling Stones, and the Rolling Stones have a new album coming out, and one
hmm
of my closest friends is a lender, and I'll just go, hey man, saw this, thought of you, let me know how the new album sounds. And I'll just text it to them, right? Little things that let people know that you care about them and that you understand their preferences and the way that they like to work and who their tribe is. And you want to be part of that tribe.
hmm
So it's about giving others what they want. Typically, what that is going to break down to is a feeling of significance. So,
mm,
what activities in your day help others feel significant? It can be just
hmm
as simple as listening. I mean, just that simple, because with social media and
Yeah.
everything else going on, it's hard to get just a few minutes with somebody for them to listen to you. Could be, hey, I know you're a Cards fan. I can't take these tickets. Why don't you go to the game for me and tell me how it was? Um, Typically, I like to do just about as much as I can to be in person with people, shake their
hmm
hand. I don't cold call anybody. I do a lot with the chambers of St. Matthews and Middletown. So
hmm
if I know a business professional in town who needs to grow their business, I'm looking to bring them into those chambers and introduce them to the people that are going to be good for them. I spend a lot of my day connecting people who can benefit from one another. So, those are just a few ideas that could help folks.
Gotcha. Um, there was another question I had that kind of slipped my mind. Give me just a second.
All right. And by the way, the education, while you're thinking about it, the education goes a long way. If you know somebody who's just getting started in business, those classes we teach, like last semester was influence and persuasion. And then the semester before that was influence. And then we're going to do charisma, hopefully in the spring next year. Like
hmm
connecting people with anything they can benefit from. Like that's a high value touch point.
mm
It's about them. It should never be about you. If it's about you, then you know
mm.
we're all we're surrounded by selfish people.
Right. You wanna be able to show care for others rather than just yourself. That is a big trademark, a big characteristic that goes beyond just business in other aspects of your life as well. So I truly understand that. Um,
Mhm.
I have remembered my question. So building relationships with people and everything. I've heard from a couple other professionals how they want to build that relationship, but they don't want to be like friends with their clients because their thought process is that they say that it's easier to tell you no when you're a friend. So how would you respond to that?
It's easier to tell when you are a friend or when you're not a friend.
It's easier to tell a friend no than a
Mhm.
professional no. That's like the thought behind that.
Oh, yeah. Well, um, that comes up in our industry quite a bit, and I'm sure that's why you're
hmm
mentioning it. A lot of folks they say, "Oh, well, I don't want to work with family," or something like that, and those are all excuses. Just to be completely
hmm
honest. Um, All right. So in real estate, I'm sure in financial advising, insurance, lending, there's something called agency. We have a duty to confidentiality as we're fiduciaries, and we want our clients' best interest to come true, and that's what
hmm
our job is. If people know you're not going to talk, they'll talk to you.
mm
Um, that's the first thing. Secondly, I want every one of my clients to be a friend. That's
hmm
it. Like they all have my number. They can call me anytime they want to. I see them at parties. We go out drinking together. They'll come over. I typically we have a derby party and sometimes a Christmas party, and there'll be 100 people here, and it's fantastic because they're all my friends. When I work for
hmm
somebody, I want them to know I care about you. I care about the results. I care about your family because people don't buy homes, especially in high interest rate environments, willy nilly.
Right.
They buy them because there's a need. So what is that need that you're allowing me to help your family through? That's a big deal for me.
Mm-hmm.
And those relationships I built, they're some of the most rewarding in my life. I love my clients. I could only think of one client I've had in the last 10 years that was a frustrating person for me. I work with my sphere. I expand my sphere. My clients know that I love them. I want to be friends with them. If you're afraid to get no's from your friends, it's because they don't trust you as a professional. Most people want to have a go-to. They want to have a
Mm-hmm.
guy that they trust to be their guy for X or their girl for X. And you should be their go-to. And if you're not their go-to, it's because you've done something to make them feel like you're not the professional for them. I wonder what that could be. So don't blame the client. Don't blame the client or the potential client on you not getting business. Blame yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It's about what we do. And if somebody doesn't respect us and our professionalism, our aptitude, our ability to keep quiet, our agency, um, that's fine, but that's something that we are in control of, not them. Whereas if I don't want to be friends with them because I don't want to give them control, you know, you
Yeah.
go be as good as you can to as many people as you can and give people the opportunity to trust you and be their resource. That's
Mm.
the way. Don't, I can't hard close anybody if they're my friend. Well, you shouldn't have to hard close anybody anyway.
Right.
You should build value, because if you think being tough on somebody to get them to sign something is the way to sell something, you're out of your mind. It's
Mm.
about value and building value in yourself,
Mm.
the company that you represent, and the product. So
Gotcha.
sorry,
Gotcha.
that's a tangent for me. I get off on that one all the time. I hear that. I hear realtors say that. I don't market to my family. That's your biggest funnel. That's your biggest fear. The problem
Mm-hmm.
is you don't trust yourself not to do something or say something that's going to cause family drama.
Mm-hmm.
Or, you're afraid that, I don't know what you could be afraid of. There's a million things, but I'm
Maybe something that you've done in the past.
yeah, yeah. If the engagement doesn't go well, that's on you. That's
Mm-hmm.
on us as professionals. So be a
Mm-hmm.
professional and stand up for yourself and say, yeah, I do want to earn everybody's business, and I'd love for you all to be my friends. The more you have, the more rich a life you have.
That's awesome. That's a
And
great
that's
that's a great way to respond to that, honestly, because I've also had yeah, sort of like I feel like it'd be easier to trust a friend.
Mhm.
But
Well, be discerning about the people you trust with the information you trust. That's why agency is a big deal, right?
mhm,
Um, you know, we get calls as realtors, if you're trusted for it, from CPAs and CFPs and lawyers and people in your network. And they call and they say, hey, this person's going through X, Y, and Z. They need this person to help them. They need this kind of can you do this? Right? Those people would not refer you if they didn't trust you to do a good job and be confidential with the things that you do, because every one of their businesses depends on confidentiality.
mm.
This time of year, and here's another little nugget for every little agent every agent or uh,
Everybody listening.
everybody listening. This is when everybody's deciding when to divorce,
Mm,
and they're sticking together for the kids. And right after
mm,
Christmas, they'll tell the kids, January 1, they're filing. February 14th, they're shacked up with their new lover looking for a new house. Old house is going on the market, new one's going on. Right now is when you need to be marketing to those people. And that's when they
mm,
call you and say, hey, can I need this to stay really confidential. You cannot tell a soul, but our relationship's over and we're going to go our separate ways. And I need you to tell us, what this house is worth, and come in and be a good neutral party for the both of us.
mm,
Um, and those relationships matter, right?
mhm,
I mean, think about it. If I didn't want to be friends with somebody because I was afraid that I couldn't control the engagement well enough, and the results of the engagement, well, then how are you ever going to work for like friends who are divorcing, or a family that lives down the street who you really care for? I mean, you just, so keep in mind, like, agency is a big deal. Confidentiality, being a trusted resource, and trusted is the number one thing.
mm. Awesome, awesome. Last question here, so to wrap up a little bit. You had mentioned like nowadays, like I know that interest rates are high right now, and like you said, people aren't buying homes right now because they want to. There's a need for them.
Mhm.
So, how would you say that? why are like how is the market currently doing, and why is it currently going the way it is?
How much time do you got?
Uh, I got so I have another meeting scheduled here at like 10 minutes.
Okay. Well, I think I can get through it that quick. Why is the market acting the way it is? And okay. To try to zoom out,
Hmm.
this is a macro problem, not a micro.
Mm,
Since 2008, the housing market's gone under a significant change. Uh,
hmm.
2008, 9, 10, 11, cities didn't have tax revenue to continue to run sewer, water, and electric to different parts of to the cities. Okay. So they
Mm,
stopped, and they really didn't need to, because a lot of the developments that were going to be built had already been approved, permitted, and banks had to take back the land.
mm,
So what we were trying to do is just get through the excess inventory for those few years.
mm,
But during the time, if you don't build city sewers, water, and electric through different parts of a municipality, and this is Louisville, the 5 counties surrounding, then you fall behind.
mhm,
We have a real scarcity of available plats, of 5 acre, 10 acre parcels that can be developed into subdivisions.
mm,
It's a pretty challenging thing. And then you also have labor. For 40 years, we told people that you don't have to be a laborer. You don't need to go get dirty. You don't need to learn how to do electric plumbing. That's for people other than you. You need to go to
right.
college, get yourself a $50,000 degree that makes $35,000 a year when you get out. And so now we don't have tradesmen. And
Mm,
then mix in some Trump era issues with supply from COVID, but also there was such they were putting significant tariffs on timber from Canada. So we don't have supply, or the price of supplies went up. We don't have land, and we don't have tradesmen. Okay,
mm.
house. Let's go build some houses with that. All right, it's not going to be a good mix. So we're 6.5 million homes short in the United States. It takes roughly, and every estimate's just a little bit different depending on who you look at, but 1.6 million new home builds a year to keep up with population growth. We haven't
Mm,
hit that number since 2011. We haven't hit it. Every year, we can't replace or put the amount of homes on the market just to keep up with population growth. So one of two things has to happen. Either a lot of homes have to be built, or there has to be a lot less people around. And hopefully we catch up.
mm.
So I don't want to see
Yeah, we don't want to go the other direction.
figures, I don't need any of that stuff. So, now it's a real scarcity of property, and this is a housing crisis. People aren't talking about it in the mainstream media. If you're a renter in this country, if you're a young professional starting out trying to buy their first home, it's hard. It's really
Mhm,
challenging because the homes in your price point have moved up in cost. The people who maybe even some longer term professionals with interest rates have seen their price point of home drop that they can purchase based on their debt to income levels.
mm,
Interest rates pushing those payments up for a few. So if you were 350 2 years ago at a 2.5% interest rate, 3% interest rate, now you might be 150 or 250, right? So those numbers have all changed, and there's a lot of competition. We sold a $700,000 property just last month, and it was insanity. Cash deals coming in, multiple offers. I had over 10 offers. I mean, just on a
yeah.
$100,000 house, right? I mean, it's incredible because there's
Mm,
no inventory. So
mm,
we're going to stay like this for a long time. Inventory is driving the market. Rates can go up, and it's just going to mean less people in the market. But when rates start to
mm.
drop, if you haven't bought a home right now, you are in trouble. Because if you think it's tough to buy a home now, just wait for rates to come down. Uh,
Mm,
because then you're going to be fighting it out with a lot of people and a whole lot less inventory.
yeah.
So that's the key. Now, the same motivators that make people buy make people sell. So if there's a divorce, homes come on the market. People, are going to have to leave that 3% interest rate, 4% interest rate. Somebody
Mhm.
passes away, sadly. those things happen. Job relocations. Job relocations are going to start happening more because COVID, work from home stuff is kind of going away. People are going back to
Hmm.
the office. So there's going to be inventory unlocked. The biggest part of it's going to be Airbnbs most likely, but
Hmm.
the key there is, inventory is it. That's the key right
Mm,
now. And I would buy so fast and refinance when you can. When rates drop, lower your payment. But if you think it's bad
yeah,
now, wait if things are a point, it's gonna be crazy out there. It's already crazy,
gotcha.
crazy.
Yeah, no, I understand. I see it myself too, and I'm not within the real estate industry.
It makes it fun. Our brokerage is built for listings. We like listings. That's kind of my bread and butter. I prefer to
Hmm.
work for folks who are listing a home, and hopefully they're buying something as well. But sometimes they're just relocating, whatnot. But we target listings, and if you have a listing, it's a great time to be selling. It is tough to be buying.